back to Lucid's 2022 Tournament Game 4, where we are playing Nazca. This is turn 87. Let's jump into things, shall we? Okay, kicking things off at the top of the turn, we have Thaumaturgy 6 completed. And this is just us heading up the Thaumaturgy chain. There's a couple things that we want to pick up there. We'll take a look here in just a second. Let me write this down. So main focuses that we're really looking for in Thaumaturgy are, we just picked up 6, right? 6 gets us Enslaved Mind, which is going to be pretty useful to us in a couple of different situations. Vortex of Returning is potentially useful as we go up to Thaumaturgy 7, as is Charm, depending on our opportunities there, right? We can get up to Charm without too terribly much issue. But what we're really looking for is we're really looking to head down further, right, to Master Enslave primarily, but also things like Astral Travel, Stygian Paths, those are kind of like the big ones, right? That will allow us to maneuver large armies across the map in case Vanheim starts to beat Arcos Vale or turn on Ulm or any of those types of situations, right? Astral Travel and Stygian Paths will allow us or afford us the opportunity to be able to actually interject ourselves into some of those situations. And even if they don't, right, they're an opportunity for us to threaten things across the map if we get into a better position for our own throne assault or rush or anything like that. So that's kind of the plan that we're going for currently. Moving on from that, we have some remotes for the turn. So we get attacked, mind hunted twice. One of our Hydromancers gets mind hunted, but resists, which is awesome. And then a Mound King actually manages to resist a mind hunt, which is always a bonus, right? And then we do a Ghost Riders that launches into Blue Waters. So this was, right, if there is something here, maybe we will bait some gems, maybe we'll kill a few things. If there's nothing really here, we should be able to squish the PD and let our units move in without any potential issues, which would be really cool. So there's not really much of any PD here, so this should be a easy victory, which means our units are going to be able to move in without any contest, right? So that's cool. So remotes for the turn, we have 2 mind hunt or mind hunts, 2 win and 0 losses, and then Ghost Riders 1 win and 0 loss. So not too bad. And then we have battles for the turn. So many battles, always so many battles. We're just gonna go through as we have been. We're not gonna skip other non-us battles. We're just going to include those. So let's start it off. We are attacked in Harbor of Copper, but it's just a clan priest retreating, trying to get out of there. So that's an easy win. We attack into Blue Beauty, and this is just a little raiding force of skeletons and a singular Hydromancer going up against some PD. There is a Mystic here. Looks like they're maybe going to do an Earth Elemental. Earth Elemental, I was going to say Earth Elemental versus Water Elemental, but that's not really. The Water Elemental just fights the Mage. And the Earth Elemental dies to the Lung Dead, actually. I'm not a huge fan of Earth Elementals unless there's a lot of Earth Elementals. If you have a lot of Earth Elementals, I think they're pretty good. But I think Earth Elementals are my least favorite of the 4 kind of like base elementals. I wish there were more augmented elementals. You know, like Living Mercury and things like that being kind of like an augmented water elemental. I wish there were other like cross elementals, you know? Like a lightning and fire elemental mixed together. That type of stuff. That'd be pretty neat. Anyways. We win in Blue Beauty. Not bad. We attack in Nuptia. There's a little raiding party, and that's a whole ass army. So it looks like he moved from Oceania down into Nuptia. So this little stack is going to be completely destroyed, but we do get a little bit of a concept of what's going on, right? So we have, and I think this is really interesting, we have these soul vortex scenarios where it looks like he has big stacks of soul vortexes here. And probably some regeneration and things like that is the intention to keep these guys alive. But in a scenario where we don't proc, gem usage, he's not going to proc regeneration, meaning that these guys, these Knights of the Deep, etc., actually he kills a couple of his own people without our interference basically at all, right? Because of this particular setup. So this is something that we're going to have to be cognizant of. We got to be careful because this could... this is a lot of units, right? Or maybe more specifically, this is a lot of mages and a decent-sized protective force. So this could actually be a bit of trouble depending on what we send against it. But I mean, we could just try to ping it repeatedly with things like this, and it might go well. Anyways, we lose Inuptia. We lose Devil Pond because Devil Pond. I guess we just didn't. I guess I forgot to do anything there. Normally, I'm really on about putting in at least one PD, but I guess we just didn't have. I just forgot. I don't know. So we lose Devil Pond. We probably would have lost it regardless. We see a fight between Arco and Ohm, I believe, right? Little squad. No, actually not a squad, just PD from Ohm. Little squad from Arco. Hoplites in the back. Little stack of Mystics. Mystic stack. Mystics. So probably, I'm assuming some body ethereal. Oh no, Phoenix power right up front. Pillar of Fire spam, Incinerate. Okay, cool. Some Mind Burn. Ooh. Jeez. Alright, so very much a, like, come at me squad. Like, those Mystics being used very aggressively. Very interesting. Then there is an attack from Arco at Vanheim in Nam. This is a Mystic with some Fire Gems and a Woodland Spirit as a guard. Versus this little Windmaster. So we've got Air Elementals versus something. And I don't think it's going to matter what the something is. Because if this Air Elemental hits, the Mystic's just going to die. Right? So Fire Elemental will kill the Air Elemental. But the Air Elemental instantly killed the Mystic. And now it doesn't matter, right? So, GG. Unfortunate there for Arco. So, loses a Mystic to a Windmaster. We get attacked in Moonseat. Hellotis Babodis.
He's going.
Of course he purring. And we get another scenario of... We only had a few Long Dead there. So an Ichthyid Lord does the deal, does the job, right? We attack in Narian Sea. And this is just a little stack to see kind of like what's there. There is a bit of PD, and then there is actually a Triton Lord that is going to get fluffed. So this guy is going to be basically unkillable for our Long Dead. Very neat kit, right? So very high protection with the Iron Face. Has Liquid Body up, has Moss Body up, pretty decently high magic resistance, has shock resistance, fire resistance, very high cold, very high poison. Pretty solid, right? Like, this is no joke. This is a difficult thing to beat. Boy, will you quit. He's just over here grazing his claws across my arm repeatedly. So this one's going to be probably nothing that we can do about in Narian Sea. So we lose there. We get to watch Arco attack Vanheim in Lost Canyon range. We've got a little stack of hoplites. We've got some shamans versus a bunch of militia. Bunch of protection spam. Kind of fun. Okay. Good, easy win for Arco there. We attack in Green Sea. Boy. Oh, and we've got another decent-sized force. Are they doing the same thing here? We've got a communion that comes up. This one does seem like it's doing the same vortex situation. So we've got a bunch of spaced out soul vortexes. And the thing is that these soul vortexes are using things like... I guess the plan is going to be to use things like regeneration and maybe like luck and stuff like that to keep their people alive, right? So something like mass regeneration, Will of the Fates will help keep a lot of these bodyguards alive. You have weapons of sharpness up. That's pretty cool. So interesting and also dangerous to us. That's in Green Sea. But again, if we don't proc gem usage, I think the issue here with Pelagia's stuff is if we don't proc gem usage, they actually just kill a couple of their own people, right? Killed a couple of Atlantean militias, killed a couple of Amber Clan guards, killed a priest. Didn't kill any of the mystics this time around, which is fine, but just something to keep in mind. Now we attack in Emerald Lake. Another little stack. And this is just against PD. Your eyes aren't even open, and you're just reaching out repeatedly and clawing my arm. Otis Baboters. He's swimming at me. Emerald Lake. I'm gonna move you if you don't quit. No, sir. No, sir. Sir. No, sir. Roll at me. Roll at me. Alright, we attack in dry fields. And this, right, we anticipated there being maybe a little bit more to defend here, so we sent a stack of Long Dead, but we also sent in our little She champion with the bunch of She warriors. So, ooh, but this is unfortunate. We've got a Wind of Death incoming. So I guess... Where's the Wind of Death? Yeah, we got a Wind of Death over here from this Lich. So I guess it's a scenario of, like, anticipating, is my big army going to come? But we did not send our big army this turn, right? Wind of Death comes through, and it does hit a couple of our She champions, or a She, Dinya She, right? But that should be a win for us regardless. Not too bad. So that's at Dry Fields. We lose 5 Dinya She, 44 Nazca Long Dead. Kill a couple crossbows. We get Wind of Death. So not too bad. Got to keep in mind that is... I mean, it's Wind of Death, right? It's late game. We're probably going to get Flames from the Sky and Wind of Death and Wailing Winds and Blood Rained 30 times before now and the end of the game. So it is what it is. See what we can do about trying to counter that. We are attacked in Yis, or we attack in Yis. Just putting a stack on that. And there is another Triton King here. So this guy, again, designed to be pretty much unkillable to the Long Dead. I mean, with 27 protection, moss body, temper or liquid body, etc., there's no way we can actually do enough damage to take him down. So that's at Yes, we lose. And then we are attacked in Troll Sea. We got a little Pelagian Mystic here with a single bit of water. Nothing doing here. We're definitely lost. Okay, so we lose there. We do kill a Hippocampus. That's fun. We took control of Blue Waters, met no resistance. That's where we targeted with our Ghost Riders. And then we have 4 fortress battles. So let's see how those go. Whirling Sea. There is nothing here. So, done. We win. Harbor of Copper. There is nothing here. So, we win. Hippocampus Fortune. There is a single guy here. So we win. No losses. And then Duspris. There's nothing here. We win with 1 Nazcan dead loss. So, very, very good turn, I think, for us in general. Battles versus Pelagia, 9 wins, 7 losses. That is more losses than we have been having because Pelagia is countering, right? Pelagia is countering with their Triton Kings in 2 different locations, right? Keeping us honest there. They are intercepting attacks on their forts, right, with patrolling armies. That we're seeing a little bit of what's going on there. So all very, very interesting. Still vastly in our favor, even though it's 9 wins to 7 losses. 4 of those 9 wins are us taking forts, right? So 100% in our favor. None of the things that we lost were anything beyond just minor province defense or a stack of 80 long dead, right? When we're producing nearly 300 long dead per turn, we don't really care that much about that anymore. So very, very, very happy about the way that is working out. We've got events for the turn. In Blue Beauty, brigands have taken up residence in a ruin. So we have some increased unrest there. And then in Tears of the Pantocrator, some of our captive virgins are with child, so they can't be blood slaves anymore. So we lose some blood slaves. So events for the turn. We have 2 negative, 0 positive, Blue Beauty, Unrest plus 35, and Blood Slaves minus 12. So 2 negative events in a 3 luck nation. Feels really bad. I think all of these events are not in our territory, though. Tears of the Past, yeah. So none of these are in places where we have our Dominion. Not that we have many places with our Dominion at this point in the game. Okay, that's a lot of battles, mostly in our favor. As far as other locations go, we haven't broken the walls in Emerald Lake, haven't broken the walls in Blue Water, we have broken the walls in Dry Field, we haven't broken Blue Beauty, and we haven't broken Dry Fields. So, only one place that is breached, and that place is, I think, pretty okay for us to probably be able to storm. So let's take a look at things, shall we? It went pretty much how we predicted last turn. Pelagia continues to consolidate, so we can see there is kind of a consolidated force in Pelagia. They moved the force that they had and other forces into Nuptia, right? So there's a large force here to threaten us. And then they moved the force down from Blue Waters to Green Sea. What this kind of does is this kind of gives us Yis, right? Unless this force in Green Sea moves back north. And it all but guarantees us Dry Field unless he tries to drop a Triton King on it, which dropping a Triton King is going to be a little more dangerous because we have things like water elementals here, as well as advance and casts for things like Disintegrate or Drain Life, etc., etc. So, we have a couple of different initiatives happening. We talked last time about the idea that we're trying to get more units back into our Ancient Master. That's being done. We took a lot of the stuff that had been hanging out in Illidan, right, and took it back to Satrandith. So now we have another big force training under the 8 experience per turn Ancient Master, which is really cool. Gonna keep that going and try to fill out our undead and magic ranks, basically. So we'll see how that that pans out. And then we've got two main kind of like, I say two main. Yeah, we've got two kind of main fronts right now. One is the isthmus, the peninsula around Blackport, right? And the various locations that we are attacking and defending there. We are trying to take out Dry Fields, and we're trying to take out Blue Beauty. Blue Beauty, I think, is far enough away from anything happening in Pelagia that we're probably going to get it. We are moving some forces across from Hippocampus Fortune and down from Duspris. And I think we will be able to crack it next turn, right? We're also moving a fair number of forces onto Dry Fields. So Dry Fields, we have a little communion that's going to be there. We have two of our queens of elemental air there. We have a fair number of forces here. I do not think that Pelagia is going to really try to fight us for Dry Fields. They have this stack here, right, in Nuptia. Did we see... Yes, so we saw this, right? I don't think they're going to throw this stack on land at us. I think that would be a bad idea to try to face off against us on land. We have a lot... We have more forces. We have less mages, but not by a lot. And the capabilities that we can do on land, I think, are potentially easier for us to pull off comparatively. But as we aggress on Dry Fields and on Blue Beauty, I think Pelagia is maybe going to have an opportunity to threaten us underwater at Hippocampus or Siocarassos. And it really depends on what they do with this army as well, right? Like, if this army comes down to Emerald Lake, and they with these combined forces, they're kind of going to be able to throw their weight around in Oceania. But if they do that, they're basically... That shifts us to the second front. If they do that, they're basically abandoning the Ysian area, right? We have Dryfield that we are storming the castle of this turn. We're going to be attacking into Troll Sea and Moon Sea, moving forces back onto Blue Waters, moving forces back onto Yis. We do know there is a Triton King here, right? So again, he could just do the exact same thing and prevent either of these forces from succeeding. But if he's not there, then we'll probably take this stuff over. And we're also moving forces from the forces of Harbor of Copper down towards Yes instead of going up towards Pelagia, right? So we're going to leave him alone in the Pelagian area, except we're going to try to take Blue Beauty, and we're going to try to focus on taking this Yesian area. This is for two reasons, okay? One, this is just, I think, the best way for us to consolidate and focus on continuing to take fortifications from him. If he moves Green Sea down towards Oceania, then we're already going to take Dryfield probably. That hands us Yis and probably hands us Blue Waters as well as Moon Sea and Troll Sea, right? Which is a lot, right? That means we can really focus our efforts, and giving him the opportunity to death ball into this massive, like, 500 stack underwater army is going to be really dangerous for us. But if he does that, we can do a number of different things. One, we can kind of just play keep away, right? We can hit with stacks of Sapayas and Long Deads, all of these other fortifications, and it's kind of a scenario of if you want to split, we'll try to defeat you in detail. But if you want to death ball, then we'll just hit you where you can't protect your infrastructure, right? That's kind of the go-to plan. The other scenario is there's not a lot of protections afforded him under the water. We can, as the turns go, start to build up more spammable earth attacks, which is a pretty decent option. We can do more Ghost Riders depending on where an army is located. So So we have a fair number of opportunities for what we can try to do. It just depends on what Pelagia tries to do. And right now, I think they won't fight us on land. I think we're probably going to be able to get Blue Beauty shortly, and we're going to start threatening the Yessian area while we take Dryfield. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. By moving down towards Yis with the Harbor of Copper Army, we are somewhat leaving this northern section exposed to the Pelagian force. But the Pelagian force is the smallest force that they have on the field, and it is protecting their capital. So I'm thinking that they're probably going to be more defensive with it, while they're more offensive with the Green Sea and Nuptia forces, right? So that's the general kind of like concept of what we're going for. Not expecting anything big next turn unless I'm wrong in dry fields, or if they decide to like teleport some of their Triton Kings at big targets. So far they haven't really been doing that. It is possible, by the way, that we get Wind of Death again here. I don't know that we have good options for it, other than the fact that we're going to have anti-magic up before the Wind of Death hits. That's about as good as it gets, I guess, right? Like, there's not really anything else that you can do against Wind of Death except be like, I have anti-magic up before your Wind of Death. So since that's about the only thing that we can do, and we are doing it, I think we're about as good as we can be there. Yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much it as far as actual movement and combat and things like that goes. So let's talk about the other normal things. Recruitment for the turn. Go on over to the capital, see what we got going on there, and hey, it's a Royal Malkoy. So recruitment for the turn, we have 2 Huron Priests, 2 Apus, 1 Akla, 1 Lizard Shaman, 1 Royal Malkoy, 2 Dinyashi, and 5 Sun Guard. I talked about this quite a bit in the previous episode, but I do think we are at that stage where I've got to kind of put up or shut up, right? I've talked about the pros and cons of this, that, or the other throughout the various turns. It's been 87 turns in the game. We finally are getting a little bit more of an economy from the amount of land that we're taking from Pelagia, meaning everything goes probably into Royal Malkoys from here on, at least for the next 5 to 10 turns, right? We want to try to get as many Royal Malkoys as we can going so that we can try to afford or put more Supayas out while potentially utilizing our gems in different ways. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, we have Nazcan recruits. This one is a little different. We are actually back to doing Hatenruna. So we have 65 Hatenruna this turn. We have 300 Long Dead Warriors this turn. I'm very excited about that number. 16 recalled Supaya, 2 summoned Supayas for 14 more Supaya, and 1 summoned Huaka for 7 Huakas. So, really good turn for the Nazcan recruit side of things. Why are we doing Hatenruna again? We are doing Hatenruna again because there are still locations that we aren't patrolling with Hatenruna. Partially because we have claimed more territory, but also partially just because there were spots that we never quite filled in. So like Toledo, etc. Also, though, I kind of want to try to get another 300 to 400 Hatenruna, I think, and put on our western front against Vanheim. With the idea being that I really, really, really want to make sure that there are no preachers preaching at the edges of our territory. Because our dominion is abysmal, and we need to, 1, start preaching, but we also, 2, need to make sure that his preaching is not killing us. We need to start getting more temples up. There's a lot of logistical work that we need to do to make sure that we don't die in the next 10 turns because of dominion. So that's part of what we're going to be doing with the Hatenruna, is making sure we're patrolling certain sections and that we don't have people just in our heartlands preaching, which would be a real pain in the ass. And yeah, the 300 long dead warriors, that's partially because of so many amulets of the dead in the last turn, is kind of like an extra. We got an extra 12 from that compared to last turn, and then we got another Malkui priest or two, I believe. So pretty cool. Very excited to have that many. You've seen how we've kind of been using them. They're very throwaway. I'm not sure if that is how I should be doing it. I should probably have more individuals like hydromancers or Huron priests accompanying each of the stacks, right? So that if he sends something like a Triton King, it has the threat of running into a water elemental or into a disintegrate or drain life spammer or something like that. But right now, I think the number of long dead that we've been able to throw out, sitting on forts, preventing movement, attacking into the kind of like back line of the enemy, pretty useful, I think. Aside from that, we have some special recruits for the turn. Again, one Direwolf, one Dustwalker, nothing changing there. All of our other special recruiters are still on the move, so we don't have an opportunity to do anything with them. Got that. Rituals for the turn. We've got two. We have a single Earth attack, and we have a summon Great Eagles. So, two things there. Earth attack at Nuptia, just kind of fishing. See, anytime I see a big stack like that, and I anticipate that it's going to be moving somewhere, I like to throw out, a couple of remotes or something like that, just to try to fish, because if you're lucky and you catch an important commander, you can catch someone that's going to cast an important buff, or you can catch someone, even if it's as simple as someone who's a communion slave. If you catch enough, or you catch the right ones at the right time, you could actually knock down the level of a communion, or you could catch a communion master that's supposed to do an important buff in a communion. So that whole scenario is just, again, kind of fishing, not expecting much out of it, but if we get something cool, if not, that's fine. Great Eagles. Why are we making some Great Eagles? We're making Great Eagles for test comparisons of Great Eagles versus Condors, basically. Great Eagles are, I think, technically cheaper. Yeah, Great Eagles are technically cheaper. Just barely. And we get fewer, but I believe the effect is going to be this. One, the pound for pound, gem for gem, the Great Eagles are way more siege strength. And then number two, the Great Eagles fly further, I believe. So that's what we're just kind of messing around with. I don't know if we're going to do a lot of these. I kind of anticipate us doing like 20 Great Eagles and spreading them out so that we can put them on our border with Vanheim. And they're basically there to be able to threaten CERN and Sitala in case Van starts to take thrones from Arco. We have to be able to one-turn pop thrones. Right? So, in a game like this, especially late game, it's entirely possible that this wall integrity is going to be 1500 pretty shortly, right? So same over here, right? Any of these thrones that we go for could very well be 1500 in just a split second, right? Meaning that though we have flyers, we have a lot of Supayas, a lot of Huacas, etc., etc., we might still need more to be able to crack some of these forts in a single turn. So I'm trying to prepare for that inevitability. So yeah, anyways, rituals for the turn, 1 Earth attack, 1 Great Eagle. That means that for Ultimate Gateway, we have 2 Earth saved, 6 Astral saved, and 8 Death saved. So not too bad for a turn. And then Forging for the turn, we have 1 Lightless Lantern, 3 amulets of the dead, 1 ring of water breathing, 1 water lens, 2 water bracelets, 1 flesh eater, 1 scuttata vulturnus, and 1 lodestone amulet. Most of those are normal things. Some of those are a little off the beaten path, so let's talk about those. I know I talked about the scenario of we're gonna try to spend less on things like amulets of the dead. We are going to, but we have 3 reanimators that are continuing to reanimate without an amulet of the dead, so we might as well try to shore up that scenario before we stop. Water stuff is all normal. Continuing to make water bracelets and water lenses for our Hydromancer. We will continue to do that for the rest of the game because, honestly, every single Hydromancer with a water bracelet is a water 4. That means they can do things like Needful Flames, if we ever get there. They can do things like Demon Cleansing with a water lens, easy peasy, every single turn, every time they get baited, doesn't matter. They can do things like Quickness, which is great. They can do things like Water Elementals, which is great. All very normal. We want that for the rest of forever. Flesh Eater, Scuttata Vulturnus, and Lodestone Amulet are a little different, a little off the beaten path. And those are potential concepts that we're looking at for maybe using Queens of Elemental Air, or maybe using like a King of the Earth, or even using like a Koya, specifically an Undead Koya, which we haven't been doing any more of. That's another opportunity to use our Death Gems for, is twice borning Koyas and then kill, like drowning them in the water and then sending them out. Those resurrected Koyas, those twice born Koyas, have way more HP, and they're still very good at magic phasing pretty easily. And then doing something like the right set of gear with a Flesh Eater, Scuttata Vulturnus can keep them from ever routing. And can make it to where you have a pretty unkillable thug. So we can throw something if we see an army in transit, or we're pretty sure that an army is patrolling somewhere. We can potentially throw something into them. Obviously, we can't do it with a Queen of Elemental Air underwater, but keeping our options open. My God, my words. So, for example, if they were to like hit dry fields, we could, they'd be on land. We could use a Queen of Elemental Air in that particular case. Just trying to make sure that we have some thugging gear available to us before we get too far into the game, and then we have turns where we're like, oh, we want to do X thing, and it was like, oh, well, we really can't. We'd have to wait a turn. So that's what we're doing with the forging, and that's pretty much the turn. Anything big that I'm expecting next turn? Not super really. I'm expecting some sort of counterattack from Pelagia. They're not going to take me... They're not just going to roll over and let me take all their land for free. So I'm expecting a counterattack from the Nuptian force and maybe from the Green Sea force. I'm expecting a relatively passive Pelagian front. And for us to try to focus in on the Ysian territory. And if we can do that, if we can take the Ysian territory, we can take this peninsula, and we can start to isolate some of these big stacks. We're going to have to... we're going to have to repeat what we did in the Sacred Lake another 3 times, basically, right? Is what it looks like. Is kill this army, kill this army, kill this army, win. Versus Pelagia, obviously, right? But that's a tall order. That's not just a ooh, yeah, easy peasy. We're not going to have any problems with this. Pelagia's seen our tricks. They know, they know to watch out for the inclusion of Rigor Mortis. That really kind of fucked them last time. They know that we have a bunch of Supayas that can drop into their backfield. That we've already seen how they're kind of preparing for that. And we've got to be careful. We gotta watch out for the right scenario. Amusingly enough, what we haven't seen as kind of a counter is a shit ton of water elementals coming out. This is like for a underwater battle, this is the least water elemental oriented war that I've ever seen from an underwater war perspective. And in point of fact, it feels like we're doing more of the water elementaling than Pelagia is. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Lots of stuff up in the air. I'm still crossing my fingers that Arco is gonna keep hammering back at their aggressors, but I mean, right? Lost here in Nam. Did win here versus Ulm. And then won here versus Vanheim. So I guess they're 2 for 1 for what we can see this turn. But every turn I look, it feels like I see less teal and more red. And that concerns me. Right? We got a throne here, bordering red. Throne here, bordering red. Throne here is blue, but is bordering red, right? Throne here, blue, but bordering red. Throne here is relatively safe. Throne here, bordering red. So out of all of those thrones that are very, very close to Vanheim, there's only one that's kind of like protected. That's scary to me. And I'm not really sure what to do about it. Other than try to win this war against Pelagia as quickly as possible. And then, right, depending on where we're at, if we win the race and Arco's still alive, then we just launch into Vanheim and see how that goes. Maybe we can convince Ulm to go for Vanheim. But if Arco is dead before we defeat Pelagia, fuck if I know, you know? Yeah. Alright, anyways, that's gonna be the end of this video. If you're... my god, I'm doing the Twitch sign-off. Otis, I'm tired. That's gonna be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.